Good afternoon, everybody. Well, it was really great to have the secretary here this afternoon, and also to be able to take questions, which I think is very rare. She laid out, I thought, and did a good job with the administration's priorities, strategic plan, and also did the same for the department. And I'm going to start with you first, Sonny, because I know each year, we try to work as a CIO towards our goals and objectives in the strategic plan. And obviously that evolves because of technology, because of business needs. And we've had quite a bit of change in 2025. Maybe you can talk to what are some of your key technology priorities and the goals and the objectives that go with those.
Yeah, thank you, Barry. Well, first of all, I think as the secretary and everyone else knows, this has been one heck of a year. Would everyone agree with that? We've really worked hard, and I'm exhausted, and I'm going to take leave starting next Monday. I've got 1,000 hours of leave, so I can only carry over 720. But anyhow, did I just say that this outside voice? Oh, anyway, sorry. I feel much better now. I just want to say I've done this for now. This is my 41st year working. This is the most amazing in terms of just sheer work that our entire workforce and contractors and vendors, everyone together, to a common mission and common goal. To answer your question, Dr. West, I think the key is that administration policy. They set the policy, which drives the mission stakeholders, which are agents and officers, then supported by technology, implemented through technology, right? So that's really what's been going on. So we have really three things that we do. Strategic transformation, which is really setting up for newer technologies. Sunil will talk about that. Some of the things, as an engineer, he and I have set up the technology direction as to go forward. And I don't want to steal all his thunder, otherwise he really starts coming back and asking me questions, But we think there's obviously that strategic transformation is very key. So we're going to be investing in a lot of new things. You'll hear about generative AI, quantum, you'll be hearing about PQC, you'll be hearing about edge computing. You'll hear about certain things that we're doing with OT-IT integration. And all of that stuff is going to be very, very key in terms of how we go forward, right? The second thing is tactical ops excellence. We're really focused on the fact that our stuff needs to be 5 Six Sigma operational, so the lights stay on, so that is not the thing that we're distracted by. We're not just firefighting all the time, right? So I think that is something that we've really improved on. We've set up measures, we've set up all these sort of things. So everyone is really focused on that. My entire organization, I was there at the Homeland Security, Homeland Heroes thing yesterday. Dak Mays won the sort of Executive of the Year. I've got Niall Samha won also for Mission. I've got Tyson Walker, the Deputy CTO, won as well. Shilu Patel won for OT-IT. This is something, and I was taking pictures like a fan, and so they took a picture of the CIO taking a picture of the team. They said, you look like a proud papa. I was like, I'm really proud of the team, But I think what that means is that technical ops excellence, we really worked and made that so successful that right now that is working, so we can focus on strategic transformation. But the third one is innovation at the speed of mission. We're bringing out new technologies so that Sunil will talk about running generative AI, that we've done our first chat to all of the organization, and all 67,000 people now are using a very, very, very safe and secure tool. So we're not just going after shiny objects, we're making sure that these models are very, very carefully thought through, and cybersecurity is sort of woven into the process. Our new thing is zero trust, which is never trust, always verify. And so we are really kind of making a lot of effort into this area. The supply chain and data security is a key challenge for us. So I just put that out there, and we're very interested in industry focusing on that. And OT-IT integration. So you'll see the whole world change, where operational technology and information technology will merge at some point, so that the planes, boats, drones, vehicles, wall, IoT, all these things, that you will have sort of a thing where through voice prompt, an agent and officer out in the field will be able to integrate, launch a prompt, get an answer, make things happen, search across, with an edge device that'll be more not going back to a tier 4 data center, or we'll have the cloud, and we're going to be the first agency going to the cloud in 2 years, fully all done at a large agency, but all that process out at the edge. So these are the sort of things that we're doing is really, really important. We're also looking at SATCOM so that we can now, we are the first agency to be 18 months ahead of schedule on AIS, completely done. And now we're ready for the next generation of 6G. And we just saw the thing that China is a little bit ahead of the United States in this area. Well, we can't let that happen. We gotta get going. So leveraging those contracts and also getting SATCOM directly to across all the border elements. So we have tested that out, by the way. There are 2 or 3 constellations. I think you know what they are. I know you all know that. We are looking at all 3 so that we can have not only the Starlink, and now I think I've solved one of the equations, so you can solve the other 2. Someone got the joke here, good. Those all available, so an agent and officer never has to worry. We've got another device called mobile wireless where multi-cellular coverage. So my point is that infrastructure under Dr. Mays can really work anywhere, anytime at the speed of mission. The software under DAC-J can start delivering. We're also doing AI code assist, where now AI is going to do some code generation, and we're checking that. Sunil started this effort, been very, very successful. We've realized $2 million already in avoidance and savings. So anyway, I can go on and on. Yeah. I think I may have gone off my script a little bit, but this was more fun. I just want to let you know I'm very excited. The reason I bring this passion in is because I'm really proud of the team. But I'm also proud of all of you, how you've supported us. But I think now we're ready to go to the next generation. There is a tremendous amount of funding coming in, and we are all set to kind of, with equity in process, really start developing and deploying anything with from the towers to bringing stuff in with OT-IT integration, and to a mobile device, and to more devices where even with hopefully some glasses. By the way, we haven't decided on that yet, so we're still working on that issue. But we're going to make sure that from voice, video, text, translation, all this stuff is made available to an agent and officer, where AI is the assist and the human is in charge. So I think with that, those are some of the things that are going in. So again, applications, infrastructure, cybersecurity, OT-IT integration, better spend on the money. Clearly the White House, I've talked to the DHS CIO, I talk to him all the time. He's talked to the federal CIO. I've just talked to the GSA CFO, just at another event right before this with Nimisha Agarwal. But I think the key thing is that there's going to be a lot of effort where savings across, so that there's common solutions and those sort of things are deployed out and make it more affordable and more automation. I believe that's going to be the order of the day. But other than that, nothing much to do.
No, that's a great opening, Sonny. Sunil, taking that a step further and drilling down, how are we really adopting a lot of these new technologies into the actual CV mission space? I know a lot of organizations get involved, probably enterprise architecture, infrastructure, obviously business. How are we governing that, and how's that coming along?
Sure, thank you, Dr. West. My boss, just to make sure, I've only have one penny, he has 3, so he's the boss. So to make sure that's what people understand that. I just had my review yesterday, so I need to be in the best behavior. And
he did well yesterday, so
yes.
He's still doing great.
So no, thank you, AC. So first of all, thank you for having us. I really appreciate it. These forums are very critical for us. Like AC said, it's 24/7 for us as to what we do on a daily basis at CBP. I came from the tech industry myself. I tell you, there is no other job like CBP job. I can tell you that. Nothing, not even close. I worked with the tech industry for 30 years, and this is the most fulfilling and I would say exciting job I've had in my career. It's very excited to be here, work for the AC here. And the thing which is, AC gave you like a whole kind of list of things and kind of vision of what he thinks where we are going and what we need to do. And so I'm one of his direct reports along with both the DAX and the CISO. And what we are trying to do is to figure out what's the best way. See, thing is, what generally happens, especially some of the agencies or some of the other companies, we try and boil the ocean. When we try and boil the ocean, kind of the concept of really what it means is things don't work the way it's supposed to. I'm telling you, it doesn't work. But what is happening now is, I think we are at a transformational age. Every conference that we talk about transformation, but we truly are at the space right now within our lifetime. I wish I was a little younger, because these are very exciting times, especially in the technology space. And I came from Silicon Valley, So I've worked there for a while, and some of the folks who work there, they are working on some stuff which is going to transform what we are doing every day. We met a CEO of a very large company 6-8 months ago, and the gentleman, I told him, so what do you think where we are? We had the .com, and .com was a bubble and a bust, people thought, but it gave us a whole new technologies to work on from 2000 on late 90s to 2000 onwards, right? Because all the foundation is built on that right now, right? So he said, no, we're not transformation. This is industrial revolution kind of changes we are going through right now. So the partners here who are sitting here, I think you heard me speak before, right? We have to change how we do business. We really do. Things are no longer, like Secretary Noam said, right? It's no longer delivering stuff on a slower basis. Everything is due yesterday. It's really a fact. It's no longer, so we talked about code assist. I'll talk a little bit more about some of those things. So what we are doing is we're dividing the whole architecture in I would say 2 or 3 areas. Let's say 3 areas. One is the traditional making things very, very efficient for all our law enforcement and all the employees, all the contractors who work for us. That's one area. Make it more efficient. How do you get your job done faster? So you'll be hearing a thing called Chat CBP. That's really helping, and we are getting a lot of information out. It's kind of a interactive LLM-based chat. We do stuff in there, and it supports various type form, like text, audio, video, and full motion kind of video also. It supports that. So that's making people very, very efficient. That's one area we're working on. The second area I would say is the application development. DAC absolutely amazing. DAC Deputy CIO we have and his team. Some of the folks will talk to you guys after us here. They are doing an amazing job taking these technologies, incorporating within these applications. Right? It's no longer building the application the old way anymore. So that's the other area to adapt very quickly, and we can go a little bit more in depth with that as to where that is going. The third area that the AC mentioned, I think massive work is going on in this area, is the operational technology area, which is operational. That means you're looking at, for us, our whole border is operational for us, right? Not only that, you have global entry, right? You guys come in, you go to a device, and something happened to the device, it says green check mark, and you go. That's an edge for you. That's an edge device, you can say, right? That work also is going on, especially how to make it more efficient from that perspective. Those are 3 silos I would say we are concentrating on. Then on top layer, you can put some of the areas we talked about. AC mentioned security is everywhere. Horizontal and vertical security for every stack what we have. Our CISO we work very closely with. That's a critical part. And if he says no, it ain't happening. So whatever architecture, or whatever products or services you're bringing to us, please keep that in mind. It is critical. We are very flexible. We do have SaaS offerings, but in certain areas, we want to keep it closer to our network. As you can imagine why, right? The more sprawl we have, the more issues we have. So just keep that in mind. So second area I would say is from operational technology component is that 70% of all the data getting generated, this is a fact, is getting generated on the edge. You will hear about NII. I'm sure this morning, actually Jody Harden talked about non-intrusive inspection. All the technology that is being headed by XT Devakota and our team is doing a phenomenal job there. So all the technologies what we're working on. So my job is working on the architecture component. And I tell you, I have to give a lot of props to both the DACs. One DAC is not here, DAC Mays, but DAC J, he says, if it ain't approved by the CTO office, it ain't happening. We also own what is called the technical reference model. That means all technologies, software, hardware, from plane, drones, you just name it across the board, which hits the network, has to be approved in the TRM, which makes sense, right? You want everything to be secure. So that's some of the areas we're looking at, that how exactly we make this work. That we're not slowing anything down from that perspective. We have to make sure it's secure. We don't want any external components be a leak from somewhere else, which can create a problem. That includes data sharing also. We may be very secure. We're sharing with somebody else. If there is a bottleneck or some issue there, guess what? We are also compromised, right? So when you're looking at the holistic architecture, we have to make sure from across the board that we are looking at everything else. And data sharing is phenomenal. We're doing it, as you know, you must have heard of UIP which runs from the XT Devocoder's team. Those are all great examples at what really is working in a secure way. So we are very excited. Please talk to us. We'll talk a little about a business connection moving forward. There's a portal. And if I don't get back to you, my boss gets mad at me. But I'm just telling you that because we get thousands of requests, right? I'm trying my best to respond to folks. So.
Excellent.
If I could just add
Yeah,
one
go
thing. I think the key thing is data. We've in a lot of the technology architectures, we're already ahead. So what industry, when Silicon Valley and others have come to us, they were kind of shocked that this is a government agency that's already implemented some of the capabilities that they're looking at. What we're interested in, there's still an opportunity for data mesh, data sharing, which is a clear priority of the administration. So there's tremendous amount of data sharing and everything delivered to a mobile device where, for example, once we do all the national security targeting information, that package is delivered to an agent and officer, and with geospatial coordinates, they can get down to a building, to a room, to an apartment, whatever. And if they find someone one weekend through biographics and 2 levels and maybe even 3 levels of biometrics, face, touchless fingerprints, and maybe others may come down the line with FIFA 26 coming up and LA 28 coming up, all that ability to basically correlate and corroborate and make sure that is the right person. So we get the right person that needs to leave because they're a threat to the country. That sort of stuff is happening. I believe there'll be additional biometrics and additional need to link all that data together. So I feel like that's really key. Just to give you a mindset of where we are a couple of Fortune 20 companies, and I keep on saying this all the time, but I have some metrics to prove this. You know, we're talking about 40 to 50 billion data exchanges a day. You know, we've got 10 billion transactions a day. We've got 50 petabytes of information that we're dealing with on a continual basis. So we think in some of the areas we need to do a little bit of better data classification and tagging. The main key is we've done our inventory first now. That is very key to enabling of AI. Don't forget that we need to also generate some energy for AI because it's going to be a big consumer of that, right? So working with the energy department and others, how do we kind of make sure that that computing is made available? And so I think some of those things are really key. We're also, the number of attacks on us, 2.2 billion a month, are growing. So we're seeing quite a lot of threats. You saw the latest Anthropic, the Chinese government, I guess, were attributed to that, and they tried. We have not, we, touch wood, are still good, but every day is hand-to-hand combat, pretty much. So I think just that vigilance where that whole data lifecycle, what are they really interested in, getting those analytics and seeing how that's really happening. The supply chain, if they can get to us, and they can't so far, they're trying to get to a supply chain, where are the weak links, and then make that happen. That's another weakness that I think we should all take a look at together. So I think those are kind of things that are part of also the strategy.
Excellent. Sonny, you talked about zero trust here at the beginning. How is OIT addressing some of the other OMB federal and departmental policies and priorities to really still achieve your goals?
Yeah, that's a very good question, because I think at some point, certain times, I've been a department CIO twice in previous roles. And you know, when you look at it from that perspective, it's really sort of, I look at the 5 principles, right? Policy, process, technology, people, and governance, right? So it's easy to set a policy, but it's very hard to then implement real operations. So when I'm sitting on this side as a component CIO now, obviously we are really, we're talking like massive operations, like I said, a couple of Fortune 20s in one every day transacting. We're talking, 1.2 million travelers a day. We're talking millions of cargo elements a day. We're talking about 7 trillion, the latest numbers came out of imports, exports. Collections are almost at $250 billion so far, on and on and on, right? So some of these systems are really massive. So I think the answer to the question is, we have looked at the policy, and we're having a dialogue with the DHS CIO, who's been very good, Antoine McCord, and just telling him, hey, in certain things, like for example, on certain areas of credential and access management, understand the policy, give us a little time, because I've got 2 or 3 iterations of things that are security embedded in application logic. There are certain systems where I have 2 or 3 systems embedded. Some of these are national security systems, border security systems, or what I call economic security systems. You can't just take an A system and then suddenly, because there's a lot of custom code also in there. My goal, obviously, is to get to 80 to 85% COTS and 10% configuration and the remaining 5% custom, but that's not the case. I would say that it's at least 25% custom. And so how do we look at that whole code base? The AI code assist was a really interesting thing where the policy was, so the policy also, the administration is setting some things up from the federal CIO. So I think the policies seem to be, generally speaking, as follows. One is automate more. So get more automation so that, and then that's one thing, I think, and get the government folks to do more with what they have and be more involved with actual, maybe implementation as opposed to just oversight. Also expecting more from the contractors, better deals. Yeah. So licensing and all that, and the products, like for example, the TRM that I asked Sunil to create. I'm a chief architect and chief engineer from before, so obviously he and we can talk in technical terms with the team, and we have a very technical team. I think that's one of the secret sauces of OIT success, is that everyone is, first of all, very driven. You know, Sunil gave a big salary to come over here, you know, for one low price, right? ADR weeks, you know. Are you enjoying government so far? He's loving it. See, there you go. It's not about the money. It's all about. So my bottom line is, all my team, we love the mission, and when we see things successful, that really energizes us. So, but for example, so that whole thing with the code assist is another policy that they're implementing. More AI. Now, there's a lot of concern there. Some people saying it may take away jobs, you know, but we are trying to train our workforce that AI is the assist, the human is in charge. But what that means is you also have to change processes. Yeah. You got to change the processes. Exactly. You know, IT only automates that inefficient process faster. So you got to. So I think that's another key that we're seeing. I think the other policy that seemed to be coming out is CBP has been left alone. I've said this before when Doge came in and they were reporting to Mr. Musk regularly, and a couple of those gentlemen were billionaires themselves. We came to the meeting, but they're techies. These are the folks who formed Tesla and SpaceX, and they said they've never seen a team this good, and they thought we're as good as SpaceX and Tesla employees. I took that as a compliment. But we met them at 10 o'clock at night. We met them at 11 o'clock at night. We met them at 1 o'clock at night. We got the thing done by 4 o'clock, and we were still there. And I told my team, you got to stay the course right now and fight the good fight to show that we're right there with them and can you know, hang with them blow by blow.
And it worked.
And it worked. And you know, we've not had any issues here so far. But I think that's because all of our folks with relational database experts, you know, the contractors as well, everyone working together. I think the other policy is security first, with a very, very focused on real world, not just dashboards where FISMA scorecards are all green and suddenly you're compromised over here. So what are the metrics that they're asking? So had good conversation with Antoine. Now, the thing that I'm also telling the DHS CIO is to look at, from my standpoint, I'm in the battlefield every day, and there's a lot of complexity in this environment, right? And I got to tell him, hey, I need some relief over here. You know, you just can't give me a score, which makes me look bad in front of somebody, you know? That, for example, you know, when I was an engineering student, you know, I mean, if you got a 35% in my EE class in electrical engineering, that was a C in the class, right? And nowadays, I said, you can't make it 95, and 95 is a passing grade. So let's just, you know, make sure there's context for these questions. So I think those are the things that I think are really important. I think he's listening, and he's a really good CIO. So I think those are the kind of things that are going to be very, very important for our success. I think the biggest thing that's happening is information sharing. We've been told there should be nobody blocking us from sharing information to protect and safeguard this country. So protect the American people, safeguard our borders, enhance the nation's economic prosperity. No one should come in the way. In fact, sometimes they ask for names. And we just say, no, we got it, and we're working this. So I think, to me, there is a certain, I'll just say, zest and a certain focus that really is energizing the team. You know, those 250 agile teams has now grown even more. And now they want, you know, maybe instead of 100 story points, 1,000 story points, and maybe 10,000. So we can do that. And we can do that through some automation, but we got to do it smart. So I think a little bit of planning, and this is where we're asking them to consider the fact that even with vendors and industry, we need a little bit of management and governance as well, in addition to hands-on keyboards. But I think that seems to be some of the things that are going on, and I think we're making a lot of progress in there, and obviously buying good American technology is a key aspect as well. And I think you'll see a lot more in this area where savings and reduction on the TRM model, because we got 10,000 products. Yeah. We can't have that many. I think you'll see some of that coming in.
So a lot of efficiencies and effectiveness.
I think efficiency and effectiveness is the order of the day. and a certain urgency to national security. I mean, I'll just say that yesterday, for example, one of the agents from ICE was awarded, he prevented sexual exploitation of children. And so who amongst us is not touched by that? When we see that immediately connected, right? But some of the information and our sharing with our people from other national security to even other things, and found that person who was also a criminal, potential security threat to the United States, but also potentially a pedophile. Well, that's great. You found that and they're out of here. So to me, that kind of thing is, and I'm not saying just all external, I'm saying there's some also here also, but to me, that's the kind of thing that is really resonating amongst our team, and we're working really well.
That's great. Sunil, CBP, AI is not new to CBP. You've been doing traditional AI for 10, 15 plus years. Talk a little bit about how you're incorporating custom and Gen AI into the mission space.
Sure. I think I mentioned earlier, from CBP perspective, let me just build a little bit of story here I forgot to give a prop to somebody on our team. So our Chief Data Officer, Michelle Zabrowski, she's not here. She runs this amazing team. So data is the lifeline for anything we do, right? Like AC said, that's a fact. Across the board, just not for CBP, but any agency or any company, data is the lifeline for their operation. So CDO, she came in about a couple of years ago. We hired her. She's part of the CTO office, and she does absolutely amazing job. We have some of the teammates from her team are here, Deputy CDO, Frank Tran, Kelly, they're both here. They're doing an amazing job. I'll tell you something, the reason is everybody says this, but this is really a fact. You need to know what data you have first, especially a size like CBP. Billions and billions of transactions, as AC said, petabytes of data, right? Petabytes of data across the board. Some duplicates too, right? We do have, we're trying our best not to do that. But we have some duplication pieces, yes.
Right here on the dashboard.
Right, so all the information.
All 50 petabytes, but you can't have it.
Right. So the reason I'm saying this, for the first time, what she has done is, she's done a data inventory of everything what we have. Yep. That's a checkbox. I need a clap for that, I tell you that. That's huge.
Yes.
First time. So we know exactly what we have. She created a catalog out of that, and we are working towards, so now we know we can tell people this is what we have. Because remember, we are just the custodians of the data from CBP perspective, our OIT shop under the AC. Our mission owners, they own the actual data, right? It's all coming from them, from OFO, Border Patrol, AMO, Trade, all those folks actually own the data, right? We are the custodians of this. So because of that, she done an amazing job to work that issue for us. Now, what happens next? What happens next is that we have been doing, as Dr. West said, we have been doing custom models ever since 2000, especially after 9/11, right? Ever since then, we have been doing a lot of custom models to do targeting component. Mr. Nile Sama, who's the XT for targeting, has done an amazing job, and they've been building the custom model for a long time. That's been there. That means we are building stuff with our data. But tooling was not there 20 years ago, right? Or it's gotten better, but tooling was not there. But also we had to figure out how to take some of those things to figure out what exactly we need to do. It was not really AI. AI is like a very broad term, right? So I would say analytics is to be a big deal, especially data analytics component of that, right? That's what we are doing predictive analytics to figure out where this person is going, this person is going, which is coming to us, and how do we track it and keep a track of that. So this is awesome, and we've become better and better at that custom stuff. We have built what is called AIOps pipeline. Just like a DevSecOps pipeline, you guys must have heard of that. You put stuff in here, comes out the other side, right? So that's what we are doing on the data side. It's very critical. Now, what's going to happen in this industry, this is my prediction, and you guys better be working on this, it's going to merge. We'll see the merger of this data component and the SecDevOps security component and the software development. You're going to merge all those things together very, very soon. It's coming, it's happening. If you're not doing it, you need to start working on that, right? That's going to happen. So because of that, the custom component, I think we got it covered pretty well. Now comes in, the OpenAI component of 2.5 years ago, a thing called generative AI component, right? So the generative AI component, I've been working on this about 2.5 years, working with the AC and other Dak J, Dak Mays. I think Dak Mays just showed up. I saw him here somewhere. He was here. He was here, right? There you go. So Dak Mays is here. You should talk to him. So Dak Mays, Dak J, the CISO, XT Dev Quota, we all work together to figure out the next generation of how do we take. See, the thing is, keep in mind, the 4 cognitive functions which we all had to write stuff for, code for, is there now. These models are amazing. I'm telling you that. Most of the model discussions is not the models anymore, Dr. Ved, that's where the issue is. We need to discuss. See, if you're talking about hardware, if you're talking about TPU, GPU versus CPU, wrong discussion. That's a given. Or the LLM size, how many billion parameters you're building, wrong discussion again. Discussion need to happen is the app layer. That's where the automation stuff is going on right now. If you're not automating in that area, I think it's a problem. Everybody, all of us should be working on, you must have heard a thing I call agentic stuff, right? Agentic is the last mile, I call it, right? Because what have we been doing so far? Have you heard of a concept called RPA? I hate to say this, that concept is kind of dwindling away because you know why? You're looking at software development, the next generation for AI, where you're automating that component, we don't have to worry about some of those things.
Right.
So that means I type something, right? I have chat CBP, for example, AC mentioned, I type something in there, and that type, and I type something, it goes and does a magic at the back and figure these things out using automation completely across the board, get information back. So one thing we are doing, Dr. West, is this AC is, I'm just waiting for some funding from him. It's called enterprise search. What does that mean? What this means is sitting from one place, officer, agent, Sunil, AC, XT, Dev Quota, Dak Mays, whosoever it is, type something, agents and officers, type from one place. It's called, I can call it Google strip for one place, right? You're typing something in and you're getting information back. That information will depend on your access control, what you're allowed to see. If an OFO, DFO from IAD, for example, or who looks after the Baltimore area can say, how many officers are working today in Baltimore or assigned today? He doesn't have to go on a spreadsheet somewhere and find a spreadsheet for today's date and look for that. No, you type in and you get the information back, accurate information back. It's critical. So that's where we are going, Dr. West. You know what I'm saying? Yep. We want your help for that component. I'm telling you, it is critical. A lot of great companies doing a lot of work. I shouldn't have to go and look for something in SharePoint and I get back a document. I looked for retirement once, recently, and it showed me 6,000 documents. What am I going to do with that? Right? You guys agree? I want content back. That means content which is sites, exactly where this is coming from, that kind of information. That's only one area, right? Then you can look at, for example, computer vision, for example. NII is a good example. Same thing there. If you look in extra vision for anomaly detection, I should type something in, it shows me things back. Because these LLMs, the reason I'm telling you this is, it's no longer basic computer vision. It does do X-ray vision, which is what we look at NII. At NII phases, we're looking at XT DevCoda is working on this. These LLMs are doing it now. So that's where we need the innovation component. Talk to us, hey, this is what we are doing. The companies who are talking to him is telling him exactly that. There's no need to have this massive 1-year software development life cycle to develop something anymore. This is a week's amount of work now.
Yep.
And that's where the action is. And we are hoping that's going to change. The last one is software development, what AC talked about. I'm proud to say all our software engineers have access to this. And if one of you guys, your teams are working with us, they better be working on this. Otherwise, it's a problem. We will expect every software engineer, right, AC, within CBP, to be using Code Assistant to make your life easy. Not your life easy also, is because we continue to deliver faster for in the field for our agents and officers for the mission.
Yeah, so I think
all right.
I think the key points that I want to reiterate those points, very important, is that software in reverse order. The software code generation and the number of things that you can deploy using code that is fully tested with your peers and using that code assist is going to be very key, because the administration has asked us to go 5x, 10x. All right, can be done with what we got. We can even go higher than that, by the way. So we've proven that. We are the first agency, one of the first agencies that have shown the savings and the amount of lines of codes, and they went into millions, and we can do much more. So now that it's proven, it's going to take off. So if I have 2,000 govies and 4,000 or 5,000 contractors, everyone is expected to do that. The second thing is we've been doing predictive analytics and algorithms for a long time. That has, we process 840 million people with a 99.5% match rate within 0.3 seconds with 2,200 imposters. All that is excellent. And now with AI and FIFA 26 and all the other stuff coming in LA 28, how do I use AI to assist that and go even further? And you will have even travel where you are going straight out and you don't have to stop at a kiosk. You even have mobile global entry where you just do a selfie and go forward. You'll be able to just walk through an airport because we already got stuff all linked together on that. So I think that's going to be a very big key. I think the other one was data, like this data inventory that I was showing you, everything on a dashboard. I got like 60, 70 dashboards all there. Nothing cached locally, by the way. So even if you take me, the thing self-destructs in 5 seconds. But I can look at database by number of data sets by reporting. I can see number of data sets, the number of organization. I can look at inventory. I can look at any kind of thing. So now that I have this, what we found is, the good news is we got all the inventory. The bad news is we got a couple of copies of everything. And so how do I get to the real authoritative source of data with the provenance, with the right to purpose security and classification? So those are things that we're going to look at. And I think Sunil also nailed it with the other point is that now that we have this thing going and people are using it, they're registering their use cases with us. And so the next thing we're going to launch in FY 2026, announcing here, because I will give him the funding, by the way, is that there's going to be an enterprise search capability that goes across, and all the sucky search engines that we have for email and all that kind of stuff, obviate some of that, find stuff better, go into some of the relational databases and other things, and look at their search and all that, link all that together with a unified experience. So to me, that enterprise search with that data is going to be very, very key.
Excellent.
I know we got 2 or 3 minutes, but
I wanted to
go
save
on and on, by the way.
I wanted to save a little time for questions. But one thing I wanted to ask you, Sonny, is these next 6, 12 months are going to be key with the big, beautiful bill and some of that funding already being used. What can industry, the folks out in our audience, be doing to really help CBP better, or help DHS as a whole? Are there things they can be doing when they come see you or when they go through your vendor management office? What are the things that you really want to hear from and see?
Well, first of all, there's a large investment coming. You all know the $45 billion over 3 years or whatever that number is. A lot of that stuff going to border wall and all kinds of other NII and other kinds of technologies. But I'll just say that we're also working on biometrics, integrating the biometrics within DHS between CBP and DHS. So that's going to be a big deal. That's going to be happening. More biometrics in that area. I think how we can do that better and roll some of these capabilities out, I think will be one area. We're going to release a technology refresh, hopefully an acquisition this year, where we can outsource to industry and then figure out how we can get not only, because everything's CPU based, we want to go to GPU also at some point. There's TPUs, obviously. We're looking at quantum and AI ML processors and all that kind of stuff. Basically, how do we automate all of that and then update that process going forward? I think OT-IT integration, a lot of common operational picture, common operational environment. We're helping TSA with a special, one of my staff is being sent over to the administrator immediately next week to start helping out with some of the things that they're doing. So we're all working with the DHS CIO on all these sort of efforts. So there'll be a lot of area in OT-IT integration. We have successfully proven that works. We've also proven that we can go out to Texas and other places and direct SATCOM down from a combination of 3 constellations. One of them is Starlink. You can solve the other 2, and get that so that our agents can make that happen. What we want is our agents and officers and analysts to not be encumbered by anything going in, right? Merge that data together that when they encounter anything.
Common operating environment.
Yeah, and we're trying to go with a person-centric model, cargo-centric, so that everything is based on a person. There's a whole bunch of information that's integrated around that experience. That is massive. That is world-changing sort of environments that we're doing. So there's a lot of exciting stuff coming in. We're currently at 98 countries. If you look at all the different combinations, making some deals happen in the Middle East and other places, where what we're doing is to protect America. move that perimeter out there so that in exchange for some of the advanced threat mobile and other apps, we can supplant another country that, they're out in some of these places and put America out there so that we can get that information loaded to our system so that before anyone even gets on a plane with a cargo, like a pre-clearance and all that stuff, I already got all that information way in advance and I can link things together. So all of those areas is where industry can help. We want your analysis. We want your expertise. We want you to bring what really helps the United States here to catch up in some areas. I heard the 6G, we're a little bit behind. Well, we can't have that. How do you bring that in? Cyber. If there's something that you're having a problem with, report it. We're having good relationship with the FBI and others as well, trying to get in front of what are some of the threats. There was a CVE just released yesterday with a score of a 10. We gotta get past that CVSS score immediately and start getting that patching there, right? Because that's the weakness. So I think a lot of this kind of stuff that's going in, I think you'll see a lot more coming out with acquisitions in trade. You'll see acquisitions in national security. You'll see stuff coming out in border security. You'll see technology refresh, some cybersecurity and stuff as well. And I think getting some of that funding on the $45 billion applied towards IT, making that better. But the key is, again, I remember I told you the administration's goals seems like, again, find efficiency, find savings, find better ways to do that, do more with what you got. And then with the savings and also, but with the new investment that they're doing, which is multi-billion dollars into CBP, help us, expand and make sure that we protect the American people faster, better, more affordably, more secure. And I think that's going to be the order of the day.
Excellent. We have time for one or two questions. And where's our mic? I want to get the mic over right here in the middle. You'd state your name and the organization that you're with, please.
Phil Hassel with LMI. I just wanted to ask a question around the DHS chat and chat CBP rollout. I think what I'm really curious about is, as you roll that out, and it's been in production for a while now, what sort of things have you seen that have really surprised you in terms of, like, I did not expect this group to be my power user, or I hadn't anticipated this application of it, or we just went way over on compute cost? What has been the biggest story to come out of all those implementations?
I think that for me, I'll just say that getting a lot of user stories of people saying, this has really changed my life. This has really helped me out do my job better, right? And they can, in a secure platform, and keep in mind, in the one that we're doing in Chat CBP, you can put PII and we can put secure information. And you put that in there, it gets you that information very quickly, and we've upped the size on it and capability. So with the tokens that we have, you can pretty much do anything, and it comes out very quickly and does that for you. How it helps the CTO is that when he responds back to emails to me, he's got the best English and the best responses in like 2 nanoseconds, and I know that it's not him. I know he used Chat CBP. He tries to pass off that it was him, but it's like, wow, this is the best answer. I've seen 5 paragraphs in like 2 minutes. Yeah. And then I sent him to the confession booth and he said Chat CBP. Yeah. Anyway, all right. So my point, all of that kind of stuff is helpful, but our agents and officers in the field are coming use case after use case, that they have actually solved a case faster, better, more affordable, more secure kind of thing, faster and better, because this is there. So I think the big thing is training. We need to do a little bit more training on that, I think would be better. We're working with coexisting DHS chat and Chat CBP, DHS chat more going across, Chat CBP within. And we're coming out with an avatar as well next that allows us to do that. Sunil's come out with 250 languages that are coming out right on the translate, so you can speak that, including techno gibberish if you want. But all of that stuff, that was the only joke I had, by the way. So I think all of that is what's coming out next, but voice prompt is going to be next. I want the voice prompt so that I can just say, just like Siri or whatever, but in a government setting at the highest level of classification, hey, I want to do this. It launches the prompt without having to type it in, and then it launches it and brings it out for you, and also goes out to the applications, to our software as a service, office automation and productivity suites, also to the general services that we provide, all that with an overarching service and a user experience. So I think, to me, that's going to be the key to answer your question.
Excellent. One more question. Right here in the front.
Yes, Kirk Greening with Nutanix. Thank you for coming. So I heard somebody say, I think it was you, Sunil, 70% of data is created at the edge. So with that being the case, what are the opportunities and challenges with bringing AI models to the data versus bringing data to the AI models?
Yeah, I think this is a great question. And when XT Bobo is here and our DevCoda, we discuss this a lot. So just keep in mind, right? So we do have computation requirements at the edge, right? We do it right now, right? With some of the things what DAC Maze do and what DAC J do on their side. But I think the concept, we've been doing the edge to cloud for a while now, right? You look at AST, which is towers, which is autonomous surveillance towers. We've been doing ever since I joined the government was 6 years ago, right? And that one is a great concept, right? Because you are looking local at the pictures, and 70-80% of stuff is junk, and you throw that out and bring what you need for analysis, right? And before you do that, we call it what is called the near edge and the far edge concept, right? So some of these areas we are working with various vendors to see what makes sense. In certain areas, it probably doesn't make sense to do local compute. You don't have to, right? But physics is always there, right? You cannot get away from physics. See what you can process. And as our boss said, as AC said, Office is always in charge. AI just assist. NIA is a great example. You'll see a lot of the work being done. I think XT DevCoda is speaking after this, and you'll be hearing from him also on this area. But what we are seeing is the extension of the cloud concept, right, is going further and further away, right? And because of that, you have processing areas which may not be the edge itself, but you have some areas where you are bringing the data in locally, not that further away from the edge, do the processing there, and then get the result back, or offer storage. Ultimately, you do have a centralized area where your data goes in. But one thing we'd like to do is, especially from the generative AI component, right? It kind of solves so many issues for us. We are exploring things, how do we use that from the edge use cases? It really is, right? End of the day, there are now database companies, large database companies, they are using generative AI at the back end. Generative AI, what it uses what is called a vector store. It's a vectorized database, right? And a vectorized database is a little bit different from traditional databases, right? So because of that, every company you can think about, especially large tech companies who have a relational or unstructured, structured databases, they do have a vector store now, which is awesome. So you can store different kind of data depending on what it is. So you'll be hearing a concept called MCP. MCP is it's a protocol to use. It's a model control protocol context protocol. What it lets you connect your services through this concept called MCP. MCP, when people ask me what is MCP, I said MCP is nothing but an API with LLM behind it. Makes sense, right? That's what this is. And I was talking to some of our partners, and this lady told me, yes, Sunil is exactly correct. It's an LLM. It's an API with an LLM. So those concepts you'll see more and more of, right? Some of the things in utopia are also in the sense because we're trying to get to that. Remember my earlier comment about one place, type something, get everything back? That can be an edge thing too, right? You're getting information out of the edge, coming back to you. And ultimately our plan is data is not moving. We need to keep everything in one place, but have what is called a distributed architecture where you're doing federation queries. You're running one place and that query goes across, brings it back to you. That's utopia 20 years ago, by the way.
So if I can just, one thing I want to just make sure, that's from a technical architecture standpoint. The one challenge we have is we have an edge funding program that we're trying to establish. We don't have full funding for that, okay? So I just want to say the current architecture is 1,744 locations, big network, includes the 329 ports of entry, 328 ports of entry, the 179 border patrol stations, the 79 AMO stations and all that kind of stuff and all that in our international locations. But all of that backhauled currently to a tier 4 data center, and we got 276 apps in the cloud and all that kind of stuff. So there's no edge computing devices that are proliferating across the whole environment. We want to do that. But with the beacon middle tier, with border patrol, and the edge architecture that Sunil and everyone's come up with, we want to start getting into those devices as a service, if that's available, so that 75% of that thing, because keep in mind, we have 100,000 assets in the IT domain that I oversee and my entire team in OIT oversees at these locations. But there's another double of that is the OT assets from planes, drones, and all that kind of stuff. All the wall and all the other 6 levels of sensors the wall has, that's going to generate all this information. We'd like to process 70% of that at that edge because it's there. But to do that, I need some devices and other things. I don't have the funding for that part of the program. We're working and done some pilots, and our Border Patrol, AMO, and others, OFO, said, yeah, this is good, to what Sunil is saying. Now we just got to bring that together to make sure that that program comes together as a program, if you're understanding what I'm saying. So the concept is there. We have the winning architecture. We know between the intelligence community and the DoD, the civilian agencies, we are quite advanced in looking at how we're doing it. We think it's the right thing. We need all of you in industry to keep pushing that concept and telling us how we can make it more affordable, to go from our first 3 concepts successful we've already done to the next 5 or 10, and then really make this a program approach. So leverage exactly what Sunil is saying, but we need those edge devices. We've now seen actual devices, actual devices that'll be the edge computer, that'll be processing of that. And so bring that out and deploy those, and then change the network topology a little bit between east-west presence, and also change the topology with the SATCOM coming in. Bring all of that together so I can more effectively do that. So to me, that's the opportunity, if I can just say it from a CIO programmatic standpoint, and I think hopefully you understand what I'm trying to say there. So, yeah, I want to add to the brilliance of Sunil has, because if I give him 5 more minutes, he can solve world hunger very quickly, because he's got amazing technology that we're putting out there. But this edge thing, we have a thing. We're going to publish it out to industry in a very closed setting, because it's currently for official use only. But we believe this is the winning architecture, along with the systems management between NOC, SOC, EOC, and all those sort of concepts. So stay tuned, and that's a great question.
Sonny, Sunil, thank you both for giving us an excellent update on your priorities, your mission priorities, the agency priorities. Let's give them both a big round of applause today. Excellent.